Good afternoon, everyone, then. Welcome to the Intelligence Racing League, or INL for short. Welcome to round 18 at Mexico of the first season of this championship. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Car Mentalist. I am your new commentator for INL. So I will be a full-time commentator for this league from here on out. Joining me today in the comms box is a special guest of mine. He's my TTG fellow teammate. He's also an IRO teammate, and he's a good friend of mine. Toxic, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm really excited to be alongside you in this league. It looks like there's going to be some good racing today, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously this is the first time I'm commentating over this league, but coming into this, there are a number of people in this lobby that we have all raced against. Who initially to you stands out?
From seeing ILRT Matty's hot lap, he looks like he has good pace. IRO Dylan, because I recognise him, and some other guys like McCrew, who's the championship leader, and Callum.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that. There's a number of people in here, including the likes of Super Gamer. We've got more Reese in this lobby, Frosty Calvin, Sparholt, Kieran, Cohen, a number of people that we've probably all seen before. So that will definitely be interesting to watch. Looking forward
Indeed.
to this. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check the standings for all of you, just so that we can see exactly how the championship lines up after the last race.
Yep.
Okie dokie. So
In
the standings.
comments.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
absolutely. If you want to read through the
Oh,
comments.
in the comments you've got Callum saying hello and DRS planning. So hello everyone.
Yeah, hello to everyone watching. Send in some comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to in this race, what your predictions are. Yeah, put any comments in and we'll read them out. Okay, so driver standings then, coming into round 18. So it's McCrew currently leading at the moment. He's got a 43-point lead over Callum, who's in second. So McCrew's got quite a good buffer coming into this point in the championship. Obviously, he is relatively close to the end of the season now, so he's got a good buffer in case anything happens for him. P3 after a race win last time out is LR Ghost, so he's jumped up to third in the championship. He's only 3 points though ahead of Super Gamer, who was also on the podium last time out. He was third place in Japan after a late safety car, so he's fourth. Matty G, otherwise now known as ILRT Matty, he joined ILRT not too recently. He's P5 in the standings ahead of J Luke, who's P6. Daniel NL is in 7th ahead of Mike, and then ahead of Sparholt, who's ninth, and BP Luke is in 10th currently. So there's your top 10 for the driver standings so far.
Yes, it's a very close field it looks like, and I hope that it's the same out on track. Get some good racing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're definitely on for some good racing, and obviously this track promotes some really good racing, especially with a lot of good overtaking spots. How do you feel specifically about this track?
This track's quite hard to get right, but I think if the drivers get it right, if they got a good setup, then they can go hard on battling and hopefully make up a good amount of positions along the two long straights that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that will definitely be good to watch. I think I'm probably along the same lines as you. It is a difficult track to master, strategy-wise as well. It's quite a difficult track to master because there are a number of strategies that can work here. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch. Yeah. Just a note, McCrew, hello. I've just seen your comment. I do realise there's a typo in the stream. Uh, so it is round 18, not round 10, as the stream says. I obviously can't edit that at the time being, but I will edit that once the stream goes, once it's uploaded to the channel. So
Yeah.
apologies for that, everyone. I am prone to a typo, as Toxic can vouch for me. I've done it a number of times before. So
Yes, only human. But
um,
with strategies is going to be quite interesting, as you were saying. I think a lot of people will definitely try and qualify on the softs
yeah,
and go for a two-stop round here,
yeah,
two mediums
definitely.
possibly.
Yeah, I think a two stop is definitely very beneficial. I think personally, I think I would go for a one stop if I were racing. I think I'm more prone to not wearing out my tires as much, so I think that's
Yeah,
probably the strategy I would go for. But if you think that you're harder on your tires, then a two stop definitely works around here. It's yeah, so it's
yeah.
it's going to be a real mix.
Especially with the high tire temperatures that this track provides, it can once your tires start getting hot, it's very hard to keep it on track and be consistent as well. So it's also
Absolutely,
a bunch of different factors to
yeah.
look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should be getting going relatively soon. I think someone just left the lobby. I didn't see who that was. Hopefully they've got another invite, so they should be able to join back. But it looks like we've got a full grid of 20 cars, which is good to see as well. A few more people have joined, so Daniel, J. Luke, and Jerome, who's another person that we're familiar with.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so they've joined the lobby. So yeah, good number of names here that are gonna hopefully going to provide some good racing. Just based on who we've got in the lobby so far, who do you think's
Yeah.
got a best shot of winning this race?
Oh, on the spot. I think the Red Bull man of McCrew, I think he's gonna, especially in qualifying, I can see him doing well. But it's hard to tell because it's my first time. I think Matty as well,
Yep.
and possibly looking further down, LR Cohen. He has some good pace. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in the racing points
Yeah.
today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just reading through the comments again. Hello, I've been Mike. I've been told to call you a mug. So you're a mug. There you go,
Mike.
Ivor. We're real now. There we go.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Hopefully the last driver's just joined in, Super Gamer, another driver that we recognise in
Yep.
the Ferrari today.
There we go. So I believe then that is everyone ready to go. We'll double check. Obviously, see when everyone starts. Ivor Brim, Mike replies back saying result. So there we go. That's out the way.
Yeah, as Callum pointed out in the comments, actually, the traffic could hurt, and that is indeed true. Slower, well, not slow cars, but cars on alternate strategies are not going to be keen to let drivers that they might be battling towards the end pass. So it's going to be hard for some drivers to get through, but it's important to keep it clean and keep your head screwed on when going for overtakes.
Absolutely, yeah. It can be very difficult to navigate traffic, especially at this circuit, because obviously there are two DRS zones, but it's relatively easy to stay close to another car if you've been overtaken. So the possibility of some sort of DRS train forming or some sort of re-overtake down the second straight if you've passed someone on the pit straight is very likely. So you have to be confident in your ability to overtake and gap people to really make that strategy work.
Pretty sure it's two separate DRS detection points, so it does provide for re-overtaking down the second straight, unlike tracks like Canada, where it's only one.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant.
I think we are about to start. 5 drivers have readied up, but there's another driver seems to have left, so I think we're going to be delayed a bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. While we wait, just for this to get going, Toxic, tell us about your day in quarantine.
Oversleeping, and the only thing I've had so far is orange juice. What about you?
Pretty much the same. Oversleeping. I went for a run for like the first time in 2 years, so it's taken literally a pandemic for me to consider going for a run. So that's happened, and I've had some chocolate milk. So there we go.
Oh,
that's
beautiful.
been my day.
Now I'm in the mood for chocolate milk.
Yeah, yeah.
Let
us know. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you've been doing, what you've been up to as well. Obviously, it's very boring being in quarantine at the moment. Never really.
We've never had to deal with this before.
Absolutely no. So
our age, no. So it's interesting to see what people are getting up to during this time. Nice to see that INL providing racing during the day, which is pretty unlike a lot of other leagues that I've seen. So it's puts people gives something for them to do during the day.
Yeah. Wakursk, I believe, has just commented saying that he got a buzz cut today. So there we go. I think everyone's going for the buzz cut at the moment. I did think about it, but that ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm staying far away from any shaving of my head.
A number of people have done it so far, but yeah, there we go. So Wakursk has had his head shaved, and Ivor, that is a true comment. I'm not going to read that out.
Milk. I'll read it. Chocolate milk, that's the calories back off your one. Indeed, Mike, you tell him.
It was only a small amount, I promise. It wasn't loads, so there we go.
It's quite a beautiful day outside, especially if you're living in England. The weather is pretty warm.
It is, yeah, it's really lovely. Speaking of warm weather and being outside, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to mute my mic. I think my dad has just started mowing our lawn, so
No
I'm
worries.
just going to close that down.
No worries. Yeah. So in the comments, um, Classy, you missed it. Commentalist called Toxic a Mug. Disgraceful comment from Commentalist. Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it? We're gonna have to fire him on his first after his first day of commentary. Hold on.
Ah, I'm back. There we go. That's hopefully all
Sorry, I was
sorted.
just getting a delivery.
Oh,
Ivor's put in a nice comment for you.
oh, I've just seen that. Yes.
Callum saying the man bun is the best. Oh, the man bun is a pretty iconic hairstyle.
Oh,
Commentalist does not approve, I can tell.
I do. No comment. Yeah, no. I'm all for the I'm all for the bowl cut.
Legendary. Why go short when you can go long?
Exactly. Jinx.
Can't talk, what a shame. I think we're still... Who are we waiting for, actually?
Just double checking, just looking through the list, seeing if I can find anyone that I'm
I
missing.
think it's Mike. Mike Kremer.
Yes, it may be, or he may have just joined back, actually. Yeah, he has.
Okay, hopefully we can get underway now.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the Red Bull Toro Rosso, which is being changed to AlphaTauri.
For this year, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we don't get to see, obviously, this year's cars going around the track at the moment.
No.
But fingers crossed, we get a 2020 game to make up for that. By the
Yes,
sounds
I've
of it,
heard,
it is coming. So
yeah. Heard some rumours in the pipelines that it's being worked on, which is lovely to see that Codemasters are still trying to produce new content. Hopefully it's
yeah,
going to be more stable next year.
oof, calling them out. Codemasters, you've been added.
Okay,
Brilliant.
finally, going to start. I wonder what the weather is going to give up today.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is for wet weather driving. This track is pretty difficult. Obviously, with the middle sector, especially standing out as a difficult element to master, even in the dry. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if it does turn wet. But we will see.
Yeah. Especially, yes, as you're saying, through the middle sector, through the last sector as well, trying to get the car stopped, trying to get traction zones. This track overall is actually, I'm sure a lot of drivers haven't been doing wet practice. Most only focus on dry practice. I'm guilty of that too. So
Yeah,
it's
I am very
interesting.
guilty of that as well. I'm also very
Yeah.
guilty of that. But yeah,
Just pray to the gods that we get good weather, good racing. The
yeah,
clouds are out in
absolutely.
Wales, no surprise. Oh, Mike. Oh, did he say no? Cut the grass today. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, I washed my
Some,
car the other day. That's something that I've done. I haven't done that in months.
but I
Finally
can't
been
relate.
able to do that. Well, by the looks of it, for qualifying, it seems like it's dry. A little bit overcast, but not too bad. So I imagine we're just going to get a fully dry qualifying. I
Yeah,
would say put in the comments what the weather's going to be, but I kind of want to be surprised. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna read the comments for that. Let's
A
see
nice
what
full
everyone's.
grid.
Yeah, that's brilliant to see as well. So let's double check and see what everyone is doing in terms of tyres. Calvin's unfortunately left the session, so hopefully he's got another
Yeah, the
invite so that he can
Williams
join
of
back.
ARTJ Luke is going to be the first car on track, actually.
He is,
So,
yes, and he's going straight out on the hards, so he's obviously going for a completely different kind of strategy. Who else have we got out on track? We've got one of the Toro Rossos, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah, Niels is out on the track in the other Toro Rosso, so a bit of a mix, not a massive mix like I initially expected. Most people have gone out for softs at the moment. We've got who have we got on the hards? We've got Daniels on the hards. We've got
yeah,
Otapa 8 is also on the hards, and by the looks of it, Kieran is going to go out on the hards as well as Danny as well. But other
yeah.
than that, pretty much everyone else on the softs.
As we were hinting earlier, that this track does provide for a variety of strategies. I've just seen DRS Aqua Planning go on medium, so a lot of drivers are going to be sticking to their strategies that they're used to. Maybe some trying some new things, which is always lovely to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Maurice is also going to go for the mediums by the looks of things as well. So we are now starting to get a real mix of
Yes.
definitely a real mix of tyre strategies. Okay. Well, we'll ride along with Jay Luke because he's about to start his first lap, so we'll go on board with him.
Yep. Going through the final corner now.
Backing off ever so slightly. Okay, here we go then onto the pit straight. Obviously, probably one of the longest straights on the calendar. Let's see what kind of speeds he can reach down into the end of coming up into the braking zone of turn 1.
Because of the high downforce that you're going to need in the middle sector, drivers aren't going to be maxing out on their speeds like you'd see somewhere at Italy or Belgium.
Yeah, 210 miles an hour for Jay Luke as he hit the brakes coming into turn 1. Through the first sector, he's taken way too much curb on the inside of turn 3 by the looks of things, and he has invalidated, unfortunately, so he'll be having to go for another shot. I believe Neil's behind him's on a lap, so we'll pop on board with him now as he enters the first sector. And it's 28.5 for the first sector. Takes a little bit too much curb on the inside of turn 4, but he's got away with it. Oh, a little bit of a slide on the exit of the corner there. Nice and neat for the double apex hairpin. Yeah, into the S section now. Let's see if he can keep it on the road. Nice and neat, not really pushing the boundaries of the track too much yet. I think he might be just trying to get a banker lap in, and then he'll really push later on in the session. But nice and neat, not invalidating, which is good to see. And he's 56.9 at the end of the middle sector. So we'll see how that compares to other people around him. We've got one of the Mercs behind him, I believe, on a lap. That might be
He's
Callum.
invalidated through the middle sector, through the S's.
Ah, that's a shame. Okay. Well, Nils comes down the last corner then. Coming up to the line, let's see what his time is. He does a 16.4 for the first lap of the session, so let's see if anyone can top that time.
Good banker that has been set by the Brits.
Absolutely, we've got one of the McLarens coming up to the line, I believe. It's Otapa by the looks of things. He's on the hards. He unfortunately validated on his lap as well.
Alpha coming up to the line. I think he's just about to start a lap actually.
Yeah, one of the Williams. That's Danny. So he does a 17.5 on hards, which is a good banker lap for a hard time. Only a second off pole so far. Sparholt, 14.5.
A mid 14, a good time to set. He can a bit of stress has been released off him from setting that lap time.
Absolutely, yeah, brilliant. Already 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field in qualifying so far. Really, really good time for Sparholt. We've had a number of people invalidating on their laps actually. It's a number of people as Pure Fantes. He goes into second, 14.7, only 2/10 off, which isn't bad. Matty, I think he must have made a mistake on his run, so he's going for another lap in the Haas.
Yeah, he's going for another lap. As we have, who else is on a lap actually?
Got one of the Renaults.
Daniel.
Maurice, I believe, is coming up to the line as well. Maurice is going to do a 16.2 on mediums. Not bad, not bad. I think it would be a little bit off. Nils has improved to a 15.9, so he's done 2 laps on the same set of softs.
Just to make sure that he doesn't do too many on those tyres because they can die very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. Jay Luke pops in at 18.1 on the hards, so he's managed to complete a lap. Otapa as well, 17.2, so he's the fastest hard runner so far. Scratch that, Daniel's just beat him.
Yeah. 17.1 set by Daniel.
Yeah, I believe we've got Hypers coming up to the line in the McLaren. Does he set a lap? He does. It goes third on a 15 flat.
P3, pretty happy with that.
Yeah, not bad. We've got relatively close between the top 3 at the moment. Yeah, Fantasy. I believe, is he on another run? He's not. No, he's not on another run at the moment. But only 2/10 off, so not bad.
Yeah, good lap.
Definitely close between those two. I think Sparholt, though, like you said, he's going to be very happy to have set a lap very early on.
Yeah.
As Matty goes second now on his second lap, and he's less than a 10th off of pole, and he's in second position. So good lap for Matty as well. Definitely more pace to come as Cohen completely misses part of the S section while we're on board there, so he's unfortunately invalidated that lap as well.
Just to note, Toofy Danny, the Williams driver, is half a tenth up in the first sector, so we'll be looking to continue to improve his lap as he goes along.
Absolutely, yeah. Just on board with Dylan, he made a mistake in turn 2. He missed the apex by a little bit, so there's definitely more pace in the first sector. Let's see what his first sector time is. It's 28.1, which is purple by the looks of things. I don't quite know if that's purple, but if it is, that's a good sign. We'll stick on board with him through the middle sectors. Keep an eye as well on people setting their laps at the moment. He's backed out. I believe he's invalidated. Yeah, he has. So it's another person that's invalidated.
Yeah. He was 2.5 tenths up going through the second sector split, and he improves by nearly 3 tenths to bring him up to P9 ahead of his teammates, the other Williams.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's good times being set right now, but it's a bunch of different tyre compounds, so we can't really judge drivers' pace just yet.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what everyone does if they go onto the same set of tyres or not. I think a bit ominous for Matty. Matty that on his second lap on the softs, and he's only that far off pole. He's definitely got some more pace in that car.
Yeah.
I believe Dylan's just started his second go.
Yep.
Stay on board with Super Gamer though. I'm on board with Super Gamer at the moment. 28.4 for the first sector on the hards. So his benchmark at the moment will be Otapa 8. He was on a 17.2. Well, actually, make that 17.1 for Daniel. He set his time on the hards, but he's just put the mediums on in the pit lane. So see what Super Gamer can do through the S section. Again, not taking a lot of exit curb. He's keeping it very, very neat. Doesn't want to invalidate, obviously.
Quite cautious, yeah.
Yeah, I think taking note from a lot of people who have invalidated so far, it is very easy to do so at this track. So
indeed, yeah.
Caution the better part of Valet. He takes a lot of entry curb, but able to keep it quite neat. Misses the apex of the hairpin by a little bit, but it's not too bad. So he comes into the last corner. A little bit of a shallow entry line, so he didn't quite get the best exit out the corner. Let's see what his time is. He keeps it really close to the wall, and it's a 17.2. He goes, wow, he goes 7,000ths of a second faster than Otapa. As McCrew pops up into third place now on a 14.7. Yeah.
Didn't get him a bit sideways coming out of the final corner, but he sticks it, and up to the line he comes.
It's P6. Yeah. It's a little bit more pace in Dylan's lap by the looks of things, but yeah, McCrew only half a tenth ahead of his Red Bull teammate. Not too far off the top two either, so it's pretty close at the moment between the top four. There's a little bit of a gap back to fifth.
He'll be pretty happy to be beating that mini rivalry I'm sure they've got going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's double check. I think everyone's just coming up to start laps now by the looks of things. I think Maurice, unfortunately, has just invalidated... Oh no, I believe he invalidated his out lap, but I thought he may have invalidated his full lap as well, but he hasn't done that by the looks of things, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, it looks like he's fine now. My mini map isn't really showing any colours right now, so...
Oh, Maurice. Yeah, that's too much entry curb into turn one, and he's invalidated unfortunately. Oh, Cohen's got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with McCrew. McCrew very slow on the side of the second straight. I don't know if there was contact between them when one of them was coming out the pits or not, but that's a real shame for both of them. One of them had front wing damage as well. I didn't quite see who that was. Cohen was on the lap by the looks of things, and it's Cohen with the front wing damage. So I don't know if McCrew got in his way or whether there was...
That is a shame to see.
That is real unfortunate, especially considering Cohen hasn't actually set a lap time yet. So
yeah. On a brighter note, Sparholt is flying right now as he enters through the middle sector, carrying a lot of speed, using a lot of curb, and getting it near perfect on the exit. Runs a bit wide.
A little bit. It's invalidated, unfortunately. That is such a shame that was invalidated. But still, he's got a lot of pace in that.
Yeah.
Let's see what.
I'm sure he can improve by maybe 2 or 3 tenths. Sorry.
Let's see what Fantasy can do. Oh, he spun in the stadium section. Oh, a little bit too much power. He was a little bit wide on the exit of the hairpin and was offline, and he just tried to make up for it. Unfortunately, that.
And separately, McCrew and Maurice have just crashed going into the pits. I think Maurice was going slowly on the pit entry, and McCrew tried to overtake him, and a bit of contact was made. No penalties were given out though, luckily.
That's such a shame. I believe Nils has improved to 15.6 and Daniel improved to 16.1, and he's on the mediums, so still more pace in Daniel's time at the moment, but he's the lead person on the alternate strategy at the moment, so we've got to keep an eye out for him and see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be happy with that being
first of the people on different strategies. Let's see what Jay Luke's doing. He's just about to finish the first sector. It's a little bit of a toe off his teammate, but not too much. And it's 28.4. He's only up by 0.06 of a second at the end of the first sector. Obviously, the first sector is not really where you're going to gain time on a different set of compounds. That'll be the middle and the last parts of the lap where you gain most of the time. So let's see what he can do in the middle sector.
Interesting that he's staying away from the curbs. He's trying to make sure he gets a good lap in without invalidating.
Yeah, it's a little bit wide in some places though, unfortunately. See what he does when he crosses the line. He's 0.3 up though, so he is up on his time, but unfortunately that's not really going to gain any places at this point. Let's see as he comes to the end of the lap. Through the stadium section, nice and neat, doesn't take too much curb, which is good. Nice exit to the final corner as well. Standing in front of him, doesn't get in the way, he's coming into the pit. So Jay Luke finishes the lap on a 17.1, he improves a lot in the last sector. And goes P11 as Hypes. He takes pole now on a 14.3, so he's gained 7/10 of a second on his previous best.
Across the line, I saw that coming. Matty across the
Oh,
line got a nice slipstream out of the final corner from Niels. Whether that was accidental or on purpose, sure it helped him.
absolutely, yeah. But yeah, Hypes takes pole for about 10 seconds, and then Matty immediately steals it off him. But it's still only a tenth between them, so still really close. And obviously, we know Sparholt has more pace in as that car as well, and I imagine the likes of McCrew and Fantasy do as well as Dylan. So we've got about 6 people at the moment on for a good shot of pole position. Speaking
Just
of Dylan,
Dylan, starts his lap here. I'm sure. Oh, okay.
I'll let you talk through. You can talk through this one. I'll let you talk through Dylan's lap.
Dylan plummets down the main straight now, down to turn 1. He's not going to be looking for any slipstream because his teammate is currently in the pit, so he's going to have to do this solo. To turn 1, he uses the curb on the left to brake and turns in a bit late, stays away from the curb. I think he's trying to get a good lap in without invalidating, which
he has invalidated, yeah.
Just done.
Yeah, so he I think the wide line through turn 2, unfortunately he was offline for turn 3 and he's invalidated on the inside. It was a tenth down on his first sector by the looks of things anyway, so.
Which is a shame to see. I think a lot of drivers now are going to be trying to come into the pits.
Yeah, Mike's just improved to P7, so he misses out on P6 by 0.02 of a second. But yeah, he's now the lead Toro Rosso, ahead of his teammate Niels, who's a place behind him. Niels is coming into the pits as I say that as well, so he's not on a lap at the moment. Maurice is on a lap.
Yeah, Maurice, yeah.
Nice and neat with his... Carries a lot of speed. Well held. Got a lot of confidence in the middle sector. He's a second up. He's on a good lap so far. See what he can do.
Will he finish this lap or darts into the pits? I think he'll finish it off. He's going very well so far, actually.
Yeah, looking pretty good. He doesn't invalidate there, so lucky to get away with that one. Let's see what he can do on the exit. And it's a 14.7 and he goes P5, so he puts himself in that battle for pole position. Good lap. He's a little bit off McCrew, but yeah, that very committed through the middle part of the lap, so that's put him right at the front and in the battle.
His car did look, it looked planted through, oh, he just cuts the track, okay. His car did look planted through the slow speed, but just to note on the high speed corners, it was a bit squirmish, so it's important to note that.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant first sector from DRS Aquaplaning, half a second up on his personal best so far, so he's had a great first sector on his set of softs. I believe Dylan went for another run and is immediately invalidated again, so he's going to have to come to the pits and try again for another run. See what.
It's not going well so far.
No, see what Aquaplaning can do in the middle part of the lap. Not as committed as Maurice, but still nice and neat, not invalidating anywhere, so see what he can do as he comes up to the end of the second sector. He's 6/10 up now. Not gaining that much in the middle part of the lap. His first sector was definitely a lot stronger. See what he can do into the last part. As he rounds the stadium section. Nice and neat, doesn't take a lot of curb.
Keeping it on track, keeping it nice and clean.
Absolutely, yeah. Keeps a tight line towards the line and he does a 15.8 to go P10. So he's last person in the top 10 at the moment. Let's see if anyone behind can improve on their times. Danny's not currently on a lap, and I don't think J. Luke is either. No, he isn't.
No, 2 feet. Danny isn't, no.
No, Calvin's unfortunately invalidated, so he's not set a lap as of yet. Callum has also invalidated.
Ooh.
It's a little bit of a problem for Callum. It's starting to get a little bit overcast, so obviously the track temperature and tyre temperature is going to come down, so you might not be able to get the best out of tyres at this point. Callum obviously is second in the standings. He's not fully under pressure at the moment from third place. I think there's about a 20-point gap, so he's not under any immediate pressure, but he wants to be right at the front to try and gain as many points on McCrew as possible.
Indeed, yeah, and it's going to be interesting on the final round to see of the fastest drivers what times they're going to pump out, if we're going to see any high 13s possibly from the likes of Matty and Hypes.
Absolutely, I think the Williams are giving each other slipstream by the looks of things. J. Luke is in behind Danny, he's on a set of mediums, but J. Luke is on his 4th lap on those medium tyres. Surely that is not really the way to go. I imagine starting on the mediums is a good thing, but at the same time, having mediums that are this old already, that's really hampering your strategy in the race.
Yeah, that will put him about 3 to 4 laps, essentially behind the other guys who will be starting on the mediums.
Yeah, he's 3/10 up in the first sector, so he's had a good first sector, but still at this point in time, that doesn't gain him any places if he stays at that 3/10. So let's see if he can get inside the top 10 on the mediums. No one at the moment on the alternate strategy is within the top 10 by the looks of things, so
seems to be a top 10 shootout for softs.
Yeah, J. Luke is unfortunately validated in the middle part of the lap, and he'd lost time as well. So I think those tyres have pretty much reached the end of their life by the looks of things.
McCree's about to start his lap.
Yeah, as a super gamer, he's just started his lap
Yep.
as well. Cohen is also on a lap by the looks of things, but he's not running any ERS, so he may have made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, it seems to be invalidated.
Oh, that's Calvin, unfortunately. That's Calvin is on an outlap as well. As who's that just went up into the field? I didn't quite see that. That was Callum. He's gone P7, so he's just overtaken his Mercedes teammate on a 14.8. Not a bad lap, but I kind of expected Callum to be a little bit higher up, if I'm honest. I think second in the standings was expecting a little bit more, but
yeah,
not too bad. He's still not out of the running yet, as on board with Dylan, who's just started a lap as well.
Yeah, separately we have just some sector time. McCree's done a 27.9 in the first sector.
Not bad first sector. Let's see what Dylan can do in the first sector. We've got people coming up to the line. I don't think any of them have... I think they're all just coming to start their lap by the looks of things. Dylan in the first sector then, let's see what he can do. Does a 27.7, so he's 2/10 up on his personal best. A very good first sector from Dylan.
First sector, yeah.
Yeah, it's Kieran jumps into top 10 in the Renault. As his teammate.
ILRT Matty, who is behind and on track, is just on a 27.6 in the first sector. And McCrew coming across the line is going to improve by 3 tenths to take provisional pole at 14.239.
Just takes provisional pole, but like you said, Matty's on a very good lap so far. Dylan only 3/10 up. He didn't really improve much in the middle part of the lap, so this isn't really going to put him in contention at the moment unless his last sector is godly, but it doesn't look like it is. He's a little bit wide at the hairpin and a little bit deep into that corner as well.
Sparholt is on an absolute flyer right now behind his other rivals. 2 temps up, going into the third sector.
Yeah, Matty finishes his lap, doesn't improve, so Matty can't knock McCrew off a pole. Dylan improved but didn't gain any places, stays on a 15 flat. Cohen goes on pole from absolutely nowhere. A 14.2, let's see what his teammate can do. He's only 4th.
Wow.
So Sparholt does improve, but it's only it's less than a 10th gathering the top 4 at this point, and I think that's pretty much everyone done. No one else could really set a lap. Kieran's on one at the moment, but he's down. He's 18 seconds down, so he's not going to improve on that time. So wow, out of nowhere then, we didn't really see him all session. We only saw him when he got a little bit of front wing damage, but Cohen has jumped on pole by 0.03 of a second. Wow.
And one thing that I'm going to point out is that Cohen, in comparison to McCrew, it seems like he's running the faster straight line speed setup. His sector times, first sector 2 temps up on McCrew, but then in the second sector he loses that time and they equalise in the third sector. So it's going to be an interesting race if he's running lower wings.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think this track you can really benefit from a lower wing setup if you're able to keep it nice and neat. But of course we forget that Cohen has a 5-place grid penalty because of that contact with McCrew earlier on in the session.
Wow.
So he nicks the pole off of McCrew, and then McCrew immediately takes it back, and it was the two of them that came into collision. So it will be McCrew then on pole, ahead of Matty, Sparholt, Hypes, and Mike will be in 5th, I believe. Cohen will drop down to 6th position on the grid, and then it's Fantasy in 7th, ahead of Maurice 8th, Callum 9th, and Dylan rounds out the top 10. The first person outside of the top 10 will be Daniel. Let's see if he goes for an alternate strategy. But yeah, really, really close. Only less than a 10th gather in the top 4. That's really, really close. Hopefully we're in for more of the same in the race.
Going to be nice to see, especially at Mexico. It's hard to get a lap right, and see the top 10 separated by 8 temps is pretty good in comparison to a lot of other tracks.
Absolutely, yeah. Just looking at the weather, by the looks of things, it's a little bit overcast, but there's no rain as of yet. So we'll see whether it gets more cloudy and starts raining, or whether it opens up and becomes sunnier throughout the race. Just going to double check the comments.
Oh, he's going for the comments.
I'm going to double check the comments, but I'm just going to close my eyes if anything weather-wise comes up. Just having a look. Some people just having a conversation about lap times at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Callum saying he had a bad session, unfortunately. Not too bad, I believe. Was he in the top 10? I believe he was in the top 10.
Yeah, I think he qualified ahead of Dylan, or maybe Dylan snatched it back. I'm not too sure.
I believe he may have qualified ahead of Dylan by my poor goldfish memory, but
I'm trying to look at the race director.
Absolutely,
yeah,
yes.
Callum qualified 9th, a place ahead of Dylan.
Yeah, okay then. Well, here we go on the formation lap, and while we're on the formation lap, we'll have a double check and see what exactly everyone's tyres are. Oh, wow, okay, so a real mix outside of the top 10. Okay, so outside of the top 10 then, we've got Daniel, Kieran and Calvin, all on the mediums. Nils in 14th has gone for the softs. 15th and 16th, which is Aquaplaning and Danny, have gone for the mediums. Super Gamer is on the hards. J-Luke and Otapa are on the mediums, and then 55 Max at the back is also on the hards. So a real mix of tyre strategies.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that Nils in 14th has opted for softs. I think he's hoping to get past the other medium runners and make some positions up on that soft runners that have qualified ahead of him. If he can do that, then the strategy will definitely pay off.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's going to be key for him to pass the three in front of him on the mediums as soon as he possibly can, obviously, to try and keep up with the other soft runners in front of him, like you say. If you were racing, what strategy do you think you'd preferably be on?
Well, top 10, definitely softs, but outside the top 10, I think I'd go for the mediums. They seem like they're not too far off the softs. After about 5 or 6 laps, they actually overtake, well, by my bad memory, I think they overtake the softs in pace. So if Daniel, Kieran and Calvin, and maybe some guys further down, can stick with the main field, they'll be in for a great race.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm going to ask you for your top 3 prediction for the end of this race.
Okay, top 3, I'm going to go for Sparholt for the win, Matty for second, and McCree for third. I'm going to switch that top 3 around.
Nice, okay. Well, I'm going to go for Matty for the win. I'm going to put Cohen in second position, and third, I'm going to go for something a bit different. I think Daniel from 11th on the grid is going to finish on the podium.
Yeah, of course, if we have weather that interferes, I haven't actually seen if we have different weather, but if we do, then that's going to be a real game changer for the drivers.
Absolutely, yeah. Well then, I think pretty much everyone is lined up then, so here we go for the start of the Mexican Grand Prix. Got terrible camera angle from a crew.
This is beautiful.
We'll wait for the lights to come on so that we can see. We'll go on board with Matty then. Okay, here we go. Here come the lights then ahead of the drivers. We've got 5 lights. Who gets the best start? Lights out and away we go. Pretty even start across the front row, but Matty seems to have got the jump on McCrew a little bit. It's pretty much 2 by 2 as they go down. Cohen's got a good start. Mike with a bit of a poor start. He's starting to drop through the field a little bit. Matty got more straight line speed down the straight. Here comes Sparholt to the outside as well. Oh, someone's wide in the background. I think that was Hypes who's really wide in the background. I think someone went wide with him as well. But by the looks of things, McCrew's got the pace on the outside. Is he going to? It's 3 wide down the second straight.
Sparholt trying to put his car through the middle, but he thinks better of it.
Yeah, he backs out of that one. I think that's smart from him. I think Matty's going to go around the outside. He is, but McCrew's got the switch back on the inside. Is McCrew going to be able to hold that? Matty's still there. He's forced out of road though. McCrew forces him out of road, and that puts Sparholt back up into second place. So brilliant start from Sparholt. I believe he's up 2 positions off the line. Really, really good start from him. And McCrew holds the lead. Yeah, really good thinking.
By Sparholt to stay behind and just wait for a mistake to happen, and it did happen. It happened very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. Other good starts. Maurice has had a good start. He's up to 4th place already off the grid. Callum's had a good start from 9th on the grid. He's up to 6th as well. Let's see what's happening for the medium runners. Niels has passed one of the medium runners he had 2. It was Calvin he's passed. But Daniel and Kieran have stayed ahead of Niels, so Niels needs to try and make those positions up as quickly as possible.
Interesting to note, Hypes.
Oh, a number of people into the pits already.
Oh.
Is that we got Dylan and Cohen both into the pit lane, and Dylan's actually sped in the pit lane, unfortunately. I wonder if any of them had damage. Yeah, Cohen has damage, unfortunately, as does Dylan. And I believe J-Luke may have damage as well, so a number of people getting damage on the first lap. That's a real shame, especially for Cohen, who qualified on pole initially and then had the grid penalty, and he's now dropped to the back of the field with front wing damage as well, so that's a real shame for him. But they've both put on the mediums and J-Luke's put the softs on.
Battle for 7th. Mike has just overtaken Hypes, who started 4th and has made his way down to 8th. Hypes had to get the switch back, but it didn't work out for him, and he's stuck behind Mike after losing yet another position in only the second lap.
Yeah, that's such a shame. I think Hypes may have gone a little bit too deep into turn 1, and I think Mike might have followed him as well, and that's why Hypes has fallen down the field a little bit. Obviously, with those people pitting for front wing damage, that's formed a little bit of a gap from 8th down to 9th, and that's Daniel in 9th, who's the lead medium runner at this point. Super Gamer on the hards, though, up to 12th and ahead of his teammate, so got to keep an eye out for Super Gamer to see what he can do in this one as well. But his teammate looks much faster at this point. They're 2 Ferraris side by side. Ooh, Super Gamer keeps it around the outside. He's forced a little bit out of road, but nice clean driving between the 2 of them, and I think Super Gamer is just going to hold that through the stadium section. as Sparholt sets the fastest lap of the race ahead of McCrew. DRS obviously not enabled down this straight yet because they would have already passed through the detection point before the start finish line, but Sparholt with great straight line speed behind McCrew. Is he going to look for a move? No, he's going to stick to a wide line. Oh, he's
really locking.
Yeah, a little bit too much curb on the left hand side of the road. That's kind of compromised his run. I wonder if he gets DRS down this straight though. He does not. So I believe there's only one DRS detection point maybe, and it's just before the last corner. So he won't have DRS this lap. It'll be the next lap he does. They're side by side for third at the moment. Matty has really lost pace at the moment. I expected Matty to have a little bit more pace. He's starting to fall back from the top two, and Maurice and Fantasy and Callum now as well are starting to climb all over the back of Matty for P3 at this point.
Just to note, further back behind the field, I think with Cohen, I saw him off the track. I think he got shoved off the track and trying to rejoin. He picked up some front wing damage. That has put him all the way down in 90.
That is a real shame.
To his teammate, actually.
Yeah, kind of a story of two halves for the Racing Point so far. One's had a very, very good run, and the other has obviously, unfortunately, fallen to the back of the grid. Mike and Hypes are now starting to catch the train forming behind Matty as well. So Matty looks like he's really struggling on those softs at the moment. But Sparholt definitely within striking range of McCrew for turn one. Let's see how fast that Racing Point is in a straight line. McCrew's used a lot of his ERS very early on. He has barely any left. As Sparholt has almost 40% more. He's going to go for the outside for turn one. Does he keep it all the way around the outside? No, he breaks a little bit earlier, but he's going to go around the outside. Brilliant move from Sparholt. Well committed.
Great move there.
And McCrew, too much curb on the inside of turn three as well. Well held, but that's going to drop him way back from Sparholt, who just has so much more confidence at this point. And we've got Cohen round in the final sector by the looks of things.
Oh, no.
Then he's broken his front wing again, so a real disaster for Cohen. He's going to have to pit once again. I don't know if that was on his own or whether that was with contact, but he's seemingly frustrated. And he's retired from the session.
Literally polar opposites. Oh, he's upset. I think it might have been by himself. I didn't see any other drivers near him. Dylan was up ahead and J. Luke was behind. So.
Yeah, I didn't see him close enough to anyone to really cause that. So that's a shame for Cohen and a shame for Racing Point as well. Obviously both of them have very good pace, but Sparholt already, with McCrew's mistake, nearly a second clear. Is he going to be a second clear through the DRS detection point? I think he is.
Top three, separated by over 2 seconds now, and then fourth place, Maurice has just dropped out of Matty's DRS, or he might have it. Yeah, he does have it.
Yeah.
He's carrying along a train of the likes of Fantasy, Callum, Hypes, and Mike with him.
Yeah, Hypes actually passed Mike somewhere, and Mike is about to repass him down the pit straight. Great straight line speed for Mike, and he's through already before turn one. So Mike is back up into 7th place. Those two are very evenly matched by the looks of things so far. I believe Matty's kind of got himself under a little bit more control at this point. I think he's not under as much pressure from Maurice as he was. As I say that, Maurice, much later on the brakes.
Maurice is looking behind him, looking for a way to get past. I don't know if he's going to try and sit behind and save ERS, or if he's going to try. It looks like he's under stress as well from the Red Bull, so he's going to make a decision on what to do. Yeah,
Fantasy looks very, very confident in 5th place. Sorry, he looks like he's got some good pace in that car. A number of people picking up time penalties. I believe Mike's already picked up 2. Otapper and J. Luke have just picked up 1. So there's a yellow flag. That's Hypers. He's spun round in the S section. I don't know if there was contact.
He was looking on for a good decision, for a good finishing position. Well, not finishing position, but position there.
Absolutely, yeah. He's rejoined. I don't know if he's got front wing damage or not. I can't see any from that camera. Oh, really aggressive defending from his teammate, who's still down the inside. Little bit of contact. Oh my word, that was.
Oh.
But his tyres his tyres look massively overheated as he cuts through the stadium section, and he's sliding through every corner. And now he has damage. He's hit the wall. Is he going to try and come into the pits? He is, yeah. So he's coming into the pits.
That was really unfortunate there.
Yeah, that was a real shame. As Fantasy picks up his first time penalty as well. Callum starting to drop off the back of the 3 in front of him. Fantasy has a look at Maurice, but he's not quite close enough to make the move.
I feel at this stage in the race, Fantasy has more pace, but he can't get in front of Maurice because of the DRS and slipstream that he's getting from the ILRT car and head.
Absolutely, yeah. One thing to point out, actually, Hypers, though he had that spin and that front wing damage, he was only a few places ahead of Dylan before Dylan pitted for the front wing damage. Hypers has come out of the pit lane over 12 seconds behind Dylan, so those medium tyres look relatively strong at the moment, and Dylan is catching those in front of him as well. I think he's taken about 5 seconds out of them in the last 4 laps or so. So he's got good pace on those mediums. Let's see, obviously, if he can get back into this race somehow, and if any safety cars come in, obviously they'll play a part as well.
Yeah.
McCrew is still
McCrew,
just within, he's still just within DRS of Sparholt, but Sparholt definitely has more pace at this point.
Seems like McCrew's pushing a lot harder to keep up with Sparholt, which he needs to do if he has any chance of winning this race. Although Callum's into the pits, I saw him struggling through the middle sector. He's gone into a set of medium tyre compound. That shows he's definitely on for a 2-stop here.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no way we'll get those mediums to the end of the race, so it's definitely a 2-stop. McCrew much more confident through the first chicane. It's taken half a second out of Sparholt in that section, but like you say, McCrew really pushing. He has no ERS left at all. Sparholt has almost 60% more ERS than McCrew, so he's definitely kind of in a management phase at this point. Is Sparholt? I think he's just trying not to push those tyres too hard, but McCrew is definitely stronger in the first part of the lap, but Sparholt has a bit more confidence in the second part.
Yeah. As we just have seen in the comments, yeah, cloudy weather for the whole race, and Jav saying, I feel bad for Cohen. Yeah, me too. It's unfortunate what happened to him there, and he's out of the race now.
It is a real shame, but I think he can take some positives away from this race, that he definitely had a good pace. He had pole position. Unfortunately, after that penalty, he fell down the grid, and that's kind of caused the end of his race, but he's got some good pace to take into the next round. McCrew a little bit closer this time round, and he's got more ERS as well, so let's see if he can...
Matty.
Yeah, Matty's into the pit, so he's reacting to Callum coming in. Let's see how close he is to Callum. Callum was about 2 seconds back. He's gone onto the hards as Matty, so he's... I wonder if he's trying to go for the 1-stop. It could be possible, but those hard tyres are going to be on their last legs at the end of that race. Let's see where he comes out.
Yeah, the pace of those hard tyres aren't very good at all.
No, they don't seem very strong. Aquaplaning passed his teammate by the looks of things and is already about 4 seconds ahead. So the hard's not really showing a lot of pace at this point. Let's see where Matty is relative to Callum. It's still about a 2-second gap. So Matty is not under pressure at the moment from the first Mercedes.
Oh my god. McCrew trying to get past before the SS section. He's right on the back of Sparholt now. It seemed at the beginning that Sparholt had the superior pace, but he's getting hounded by McCrew right now.
Absolutely, and these two have pulled away from the rest of the field at this point. I was just on board. Aquaplaning and Niels are fighting for 7th at the moment. Aquaplaning has gained a number of positions so far in this race on those mediums. He's looking very, very strong, and I believe Daniel's starting to catch back up to Mike in front, so it's definitely the crossover period now where the mediums are becoming the stronger tyre, and both of the leaders are into the pit lane.
Oh. It looked like that McCrew was going to try and get past, but I think he followed Sparholt to the pit lane.
Yeah.
Maurice decided to stay on. Is he going to try and extend those softs to the hard period and go for a 1-stop? Maybe
Possibly.
Fantasize are going to do the same thing.
And split of strategies for the two leaders. Sparholt puts the mediums on, McCrew on the hards, so they've gone for 2 completely different strategies. Obviously, this is kind of the period of the race where we're going to see how those strategies play out. I think McCrew is obviously going to lose time to Sparholt in this period of the race, but he may be able to stay on a 1-stop. Is he going to stay ahead of Otapa, though, as McCrew? Otapa has the speed. But does he have the run? No, McCrew's just going to stay in 11th place, so he's not going to be behind traffic by the looks of things. Which is good for him.
To make this 2-stop work, ideally drivers want to be doing about going 10 seconds faster on the first set of mediums and 10 on the seconds to have any chance of beating their rivals on the 1-stop.
Absolutely, yeah. And as you said before the race even begun, the traffic can be a real needle in the side for people here, and Sparholt is stuck at the moment behind Super Gamer, who's on 8-lap-old hards, and obviously there's not really an overtaking point until you get to the stadium section. As you say, that Sparholt very wide in behind.
Oh, a spin ahead, Calvin. Oh, crosses across the track and nearly kills McCrew.
Oof, very lucky that McCrew was able to get away with that one. As we say that as well, Sparholt down the inside of Super Gamer. Didn't lose too much time in that, but he was a little bit all over the place in that section. But like you say, that was very close from Calvin. Well held from Calvin to not cause any sort of incident, as Maurice and Fantasy are both into the pit lanes. Maurice has put the hards on. And has Fantasy gone on for another set of soft tyres? He has.
That is interesting.
So that's a different iteration of the 2-stop strategy, and Mike's gone for the hards behind them as well. I think if
seems to be a soft medium for...
I imagine so, yeah, because by the looks of things, he got nearly 10 laps out of those. He'll probably be able to get about 10 or 11 out of this set, because they wouldn't have done qualifying, obviously. So always side by side with Max in front. He's going to be behind Max, but let's see if he can get him down the straight with the superior grip on the exit at the corner. But he won't have DRS.
He will not like to be behind the hard runner through this section. He's going to stay behind actually.
He is going to stay behind. Yeah, patience definitely the better part of it at the moment. He's always looking for the inside at the hairpin. Is he going to go for it? He is. He sends it down the inside. There's a little bit of wheel banging. Max is still alongside though. Is Max going to back out? He is, yeah. Smart for Max. I think he's in a completely different race at this point. So let's see what Fantasy can do. He's nearly 3 seconds off the back of Maurice now, and Callum has actually jumped both of these guys. His tyres are 3 laps older, but he's dumped Maurice and Fantasy. So.
Oh, down the inside. Sorry. Callum on the inside of Danny. Gets the move done. No contact made. A very good move there from Callum.
Yeah, brilliant move from Callum. He's definitely a threat in this race. He pitted early, and obviously the people around him, but he's managed to jump a lot of people, and he's still on for a fight for the podium. It's a yellow flag in sector 2 somewhere. I don't quite see who that was for. That might be for hype, so I'm not quite sure.
I didn't really see that.
I didn't see that either, unfortunately, but see behind Maurice down the inside of Danny now as well. Callum's passed Otapa for P9, so Callum making his way through the field very quickly. He's definitely doing what he needs to do to make that 2-stop strategy work by the looks of things.
Just giving a little swerve, saying stay behind me because I'm not letting you through, it seems like.
Yeah, he's on a completely different strategy as well. So he's on the same strategy as McCrew. He's gone for the hards. Matty is also on the hards as well, so they're all on the same strategy. Who else is on the same strategy? We've got Callum and Sparholt on the same strategy, and then Fantasy on a completely different strategy to everyone else. We've got one of the Renaults round. That's Kieran. Ooh. Kieran Espana has got front wing damage by the looks of things as well. So another person around in the S's section. Is Mike going to get past Kieran as well? He's going to look to the inside, and he is going to go through.
Sail it down the inside. Just talking of wing damage, the yellow flag, sector 2 yellow flag, I think was caused by J-Luke. He pitted and replaced his front wing, so I think that was what happened there.
There we go. So that's an explanation for that then. Just looking at the front of the field, Daniel still leads on those medium tyres, but at the moment, Aquaplaning, it seems a lot faster at this point. He's gained about, I'd say about 7/10 in the last lap and a half on Daniel. Aquaplaning, who was a little bit further down in the field in qualifying, he's got better tyre life in those mediums at this point than Daniel in front of him, and Sparholt's only 4 seconds off the back of these guys, so he's in for a real shout of winning this race at the moment. He's got really good pace, and McCrew still hasn't passed Niels. As I say that, McCrew down the inside, he's made the move stick.
Past.
Yeah, Niels is still out on the same set of soft tyres that he started this race on. He's done 11 laps on those softs. They must be absolutely dead at this point. But he's really trying to extend, possibly for that one stop.
Yeah, he's going far, but it's losing him time though, and that's important to note because right behind him you've got Matty. If he pits, he's going to drop down the field a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Callum on the back of Super Gamer now for P7 as well. There's a bit of a gap forming behind Callum.
Callum's trademark move. Oh, no.
Ooh, he doesn't quite go for it, but Super Gamer outbreaks himself as Dylan's retired from the session. He's spun in the S section by the looks of things. Callum round the outside of Super Gamer through the last corner.
Safety car.
Virtual safety car, yeah, and Callum does make the move stick before the virtual safety car comes out, so
Dylan lost it on the exit of the S's, hit into the wall on the left and just kind of stopped in the middle of the track, so it's an unfortunate accident there. It's on 10 lap old medium, so
that is a shame. That is a real shame. A number of people into the pits. We've got Danny, Otapa, Frosty Calvin and Max have all pitted onto the virtual safety car, which is smart because they'll obviously lose less time behind the virtual safety car when pitting. So let's see if anyone else decides to come in as well. Callum and Super Gamer are still side by side behind the virtual safety car. They're still racing behind the virtual safety car at this point. I think Super Gamer is really eager to get past.
He's overtaken him.
He is overtaking him behind the virtual safety car. Obviously got to keep it calm.
Virtual safety car conditions, you're not allowed to overtake, and he's getting quite aggressive against Callum, considering he's on a completely different strategy. It's green flags again, and Callum's pulse pushes away from him. Yeah,
so I think Super Gamer trying to do that maybe to just unsettle Callum maybe, but it obviously hasn't worked out. Matty's still behind Niels now at this point, and Matty is being caught by Callum pretty quickly, so Callum's going to be within DRS range of those lot as well.
Yeah, as you were saying before, Sparholt is in the best position right now. He's pulled away quite considerably from Matty and McCrew,
Yeah.
and he needs to extend his gap if
Ooh.
he has any chance of winning this race.
Yeah, Neil's into the pit lane, and that's caught Matty out. He's slow onto the straight, and Callum's going to go for the move. This is for a net P3 at this point.
They have identical ERS, they have identical straight line speed, while Callum's just starting to pull away a little bit, and he gets the move done.
Down the inside, yeah, Matty has to back out. He doesn't have the speed to keep it around the outside. Callum, though, a little bit of a poor exit from the chicane. Obviously, he'll have DRS as well, so Matty won't have the straight line speed to get back at him, and he isn't fighting it by the looks of things. So Callum now into a net P3, and he's not far off the back of McCrew. He's less than 2 seconds behind, so be interesting to see if Callum can pass McCrew for P2.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, interesting scenario along the second straight there. Callum was actually pulling away from Matty. That suggests a low downforce setup for Callum, although he's still pulling away, so it's quite interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. Sparholt 4 seconds clear of McCrew now. The hard's definitely not the stronger tyre at this point in the race, but maybe McCrew saving those tyres so that he can do the one stop. Sparholt now within DRS range of Aquaplaning well for P2 on the circuit. Obviously, they're in completely different races at this point. So let's see what Sparholt can do. He looks close enough to make the move down the straight, and he has plenty of ERS saved up as well, and I don't think Aquaplaning's going to fight it too hard. He is in overtake ERS, so he is trying to stay ahead.
Oh, is he going to go down the inside? Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Is he going to brake late enough? He does. He brakes much later. Gets the car stopped just about and gives enough room to Aquaplaning as well. So Sparholt now up into second on the road. I don't think
Sparholt's got a good strategy going on here. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say Sparholt's doing exactly what you said before the start of the race. He's made his way through the field very quickly as Maurice and Super Gamer are side by side now. And in front, Matty having a go back at Callum. Oh, he's not quite close enough to make the move stick. And Maurice is now ahead of Super Gamer as well. So he's up past Super Gamer, who hasn't pitted yet either. Fantasy, he's in 9th as well. He has not made as much progress on those softs as I expected him to be honest. He's not really pulled away from Mike behind. Oh, and Maurice and Super Gamer side by side again. Super Gamer backs out and lets Fantasy through as well.
On the exit there, I think Maurice slowed down. Either he had some sort of issue. He was very slow on the exit there, and Super Gamer hit into the back of him. And now he's under threat from Mike. Who's just overtaking him.
Mike around the outside. Super Gamer backs out as well. I think Super Gamer recognising that he's not in a fight with these guys, and he's just not trying to lose as much time. But now Fantasy on the back of Maurice. But yeah, like I said, Fantasy's not really pulled away from Mike. Oh yeah, Sparholt on the... Yeah, Daniel doesn't fight that one too hard.
Yeah, as you were saying, yeah. I think those... Oh my god!
Daniel outbrakes himself, slams into the back of Sparholt, and that's massive. Yeah, that's massive front wing damage for Daniel, so that's really unfortunate. The lead man on the alternate strategy, and he's going to have to come into the pits. There's no way he can continue going with that amount of front wing damage. He should be able to put the hards on though and get to the end of the race on a one stop from this point onwards relatively easily, so he should be fine, but this is going to put Aquaplaning at an advantage against Daniel for the race of the best of the alternate strategy at this point. That's a shame for Daniel.
There's just been a bit of contact that's been made between Matty and Callum. Callum not leaving Matty the sufficient amount of space, but it's hard racing. It wasn't too bad actually.
Yeah, and since Callum has passed Matty, he's not been able to drop Matty at this point, so Matty's doing well on those hards to keep up. Fantasy already a second and a half clear of Maurice, who is now under pressure from Mike, who's kind of run a little bit of a lonely race so far. He's kind of been a little bit behind the lead pack, but he's not been out of it by any means, and he's kind of running his own race at the moment, and he's starting to make ground, so he's caught up to Maurice, and Fantasy is now starting to catch through in front. Yeah.
I think he knew that he was losing a lot of time. Aquaplaning and overtook him into the entrance of the final sector. I think he decided to go into a set of hards now, change his front wing, and hopefully recover his race.
Absolutely. Let's see where he comes out relative to that pack of cars that are formed behind Hypes as Sparholt picks up his first time penalty.
I know that feeling. He picked it on the exit of the corner, leading down to the straight. I've had that feeling in mini league. It's awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel then comes out in a nice bit of clean air, and he's in the points. So Daniel, despite the front wing damage, he's on for a good result at this point. There's still a number of people in front who still have to pit again. So the likes of Super Gamer has to pit again. Mike down the inside of Maurice. Maurice coming back around the outside. Moves off the track though. Mike leaves some space, but Mike is down the inside. Good move from Mike. All a
I'm
little bit
surprised
sideways on
Mike
the
got that
exit.
stopped in time.
Yeah, he was really, really late on the brakes, but a great move from Mike. He's got more pace at this point than Maurice, and Maurice now starting to struggle on those hards. But like I said, Daniel's got a lot of people in front of him that need to pit, so the likes of Super Gamer needs to pit again. Fantasy definitely needs to pit again, as will Callum, Aquaplaning, and Sparholt. They will all have to pit at some point, I imagine. So you're still on for a good result.
Yeah, as you were saying though, the Red Bull man, he's not really. Those tyres haven't really worked for him, I don't think.
No, he's kind of stuck at about 4 seconds behind Matty and Callum in front. He can't really get any closer to them, and he hasn't really been able to get the most out of those softs. And at this point, the softs will definitely be dying off. So I don't think that strategy's worked out best for him. Aquaplaning, in the meantime, has pitted from the lead. Well, not from the lead, but from the lead of the alternate strategies, and he's going to be way ahead of Daniel by the looks of things. Yeah,
Maurice sails past the Toro Rosso of Mike. Yeah, he's way ahead of Daniel.
Yeah, he's about 6 seconds clear, and he's only 5 seconds off the back of Super Gamer, so he's on for a really good result at this point as Aquaplaning. See what else is happening behind. Yeah, Maurice, like you said, he's sailed back past Mike, so these two, once again, very evenly matched. See
I think as well, up ahead, Matty is just waiting patiently behind Callum. It seems like he can definitely keep up with him, and I'm surprised because those hard tyres, in theory, should be slower, but I think the crossover point is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the crossover point is starting to come now, and we obviously believe that Callum is on a 2-stop, and this is good for Matty because if he's able to just stick behind Callum and use his DRS and then not use too much of the tyres to try and overtake, he can extend this hard stint out and maybe go to the end of the race, which I think is what McCrew may be doing as well. But look at the gap now between Sparholt and McCrew, over 7 seconds.
Sparholt is pulling, and he's only got 1 penalty so far. I'm not sure on McCrew's penalties. I'll have a look now because it might come down to the final couple of laps.
Yeah. Oh, Matty in behind Callum, brakes a little bit late, has to take a little bit of avoiding action not to hit the back of him. But he's still very, very close to the back of that Mercedes. He's got good pace at this point. And Fantasy now starting to drop as well. See what else is going on in further behind. Daniel, at this point, he's gained about a second almost on Aquaplaning in the last lap. Obviously, that was Aquaplaning's first lap out the pit lane, so maybe he's just getting used to those hard tyres at this point. But
yeah,
he's got good pace as well. Just looking outside of the top 10 at anyone who's... Let's see what everyone else is doing at this point. Obviously, J. Luke is already a lap down in this race. He's had a bit of a shocker so far, unfortunately for him. We've got Hypes after his spin relatively early on the race. He's still in 11th. He'll have to pit again because those mediums are 13 laps old. But if there's any eventuality of a safety car, then he's definitely on for a possible top 10 finish. He's got good pace at this point, as does Danny, who's in P12 at the moment. Neil's unfortunately sorry, I was just going to say that longer soft stint at the start hasn't paid off for Neil. So he's down in 13th. That unfortunately hasn't worked for him at this point.
So in the top 10, there's only 3 people that actually need to pit again, if I'm right.
I believe so.
Hard runners will continue on to the end of the race. It's going to be quite interesting. I think the guys on the mediums will pit maybe lap 22, 23, maybe a little bit later than that for another set of mediums to try and go to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it is 3 that we're I think it might be 4 that we're expecting to pit. I think we've got Super Gamer who started on those hard tyres. Maurice and Mike side by side again for P6. Is Mike going to go around the outside? He is. Does he? Maurice can't fight it around the outside of the next corner, so Mike is back through again. Great move for Mike. That's the second time he's done that move on Maurice. He's definitely very good at making the overtake stick around the outside. Maurice wasn't able to read that and wasn't able to get the switch back on him either, so Mike's back up into 6th.
Yeah, it seems like Mike has got better pace now. Maybe he's getting more used to the car, though he's using a lot more ERS to try and pull away from Maurice. So I think he wants to get rid of him now.
Yeah, I think that's his strategy, is to try and get Maurice as much as possible and hopefully get out of his DRS range. It's starting to get a little bit sunnier as well, so tyre temps will... Oh, yeah. Matty's close to Callum again.
Yeah, tyre temps, as you were saying, they'll start getting higher, won't they?
Go for it. Matty around the outside. Is he going to try and stick around the outside? He sticks up the inside of turn 2. Callum has to turn out of the corner to not make contact. And Matty gets a better exit, much better exit from turn 3, and he's through. Is Callum going to go for the move? No, down in turn 4. He's got good straight line speed in that Mercedes despite having no DRS. He's down the inside and he's back through. So he squeezes Matty a little bit. I think it was fair, but he squeezes him a little bit, but he's back through again. So these two really starting to... I think the mediums are now starting to really go off for Callum, and he's really desperately trying to hold Matty up as much as possible so that when Callum eventually pits again, Matty won't be as far ahead as he possibly could be, so that it's easier for Callum to catch maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I think Callum needs to be careful in those mediums. We saw what happened to Dylan on 10-lap olds mediums, and now we have Callum on 14-lap. We just be very careful when he's pushing hard.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got to be very careful not to spin and ruin his race.
Yeah.
See if Callum's in. I believe he is. Yeah, Callum's in. So he's done 14 laps on those, and you've got another 14 laps to go. So I imagine the likes of Spa-Holt and Hypes will be in as well at some point. Fantasize into the pits as well from P6, so he's in, and he's going to put the mediums on. So unfortunately, those softs didn't quite work for him. Let's see what he can do.
2 sets of softs, 1 set of mediums for him. The alternate strategy compared to the other 2 stop guys. Everyone else choosing to do the 2 medium stops. Maurice has left the session, I think. His car is in AI.
Yeah.
And he's dropped off quite considerably to Mike. So
that's a shame. Hopefully he has another invite and you can get back into that car, because he is still on for a good result at this point. Matty picks up a time penalty. This is his first lap. Yeah, Maurice is back in now as well, so hopefully he can get control of that car. He's not lost a place as of yet, so he's still on for a good result. Let's see what the leaders do. So Spa-Holt's into the stadium section. He's really struggling on those mediums, really sideways in the stadium section. Does he pit on this lap and go on to a new set?
I think he's going to come out P5 if he decides to pit. Gap to P5 is 28 seconds, gap to P4 is 21. Ooh.
He locked up massively going into the pit lane, but he doesn't speed. That's good stuff from Spa-Holt.
I predict a P5 exit. He's going to be quite considerably ahead of Maurice, I think, because of his disconnect, which is unfortunate.
Let's see what he can do then. So McCrew and Matty are through. Is Mike going to go through? He's going to have the momentum down the straight. I think Mike's just going to pass Spa-Holt maybe.
Oh, it's P4 actually.
Yeah, Maurice has unfortunately left the session again. Mike's got the straight line speed though. Does Mike pass Spa-Holt into the corner? He does. Spa-Holt though keeps it down the inside, but isn't quite late enough on the brakes to make that move work. But is he going to get him down the next straight? Much better traction on the exit of the corner. He obviously won't have DRS. Let's see.
Force around to the outside.
Yeah, is Mike going to defend hard on the inside? No, Spa-Holt all the way round the outside. Brilliant move. Yeah, kept it nice and tight to the inside of the corner so that Mike couldn't really do anything about it. Brilliant move from Spa-Holt. He's up to P3, and that's exactly what he needs to do if he's to catch Matty and McCrew and get those before the end of the race.
So right now the top 3 are as they started, with McCrew in first, Matty in second, and Spa-Holt in third. Although Spa-Holt is going to be on a mission right now to close up 12 seconds to the leader and 6 seconds to P2. And the question is, can he do it?
Yeah, 12 seconds is obviously a big ask, but at this point as well, McCrew's tyres are going to be... He gained about 8, near 9 seconds on McCrew in that first stint, and obviously McCrew's tyres are going to be much older at this point, so it is definitely possible. It all depends on how quickly he passes the likes of Matty as well. So let's see what other people commentating on. Here we are. So Callum's round the outside of Daniel, then coming around the last corner. So obviously he's on the same strategy as Spa-Holt.
No slipstream needed there for Callum.
No, he had a brilliant exit. Fantasy fastest lap of the race in a 17.8. He's in P9 at the moment though. Daniel backs out and goes into the slipstream of Callum then. So Callum's up into P6, and DRS Aquaplaning is in P5 at the moment. So he's come out of this very well. He started way down on the grid. Let's double check actually how many places he's gained so far. Aquaplaning's gained 10 positions in this race. So Aquaplaning started this race in P15 and went for the alternate strategy. And he's pulled it off brilliantly up to P5 at this point, and he's on much fresher hard tyres than the people in front. So it's definitely possible that he can catch the likes of Mike before the end of this race.
Oh, Cohen saying in the comments, Hypers didn't turn in at all, just swiped Cohen on the grass. So yeah, just send your PV into the stewards, Cohen, because that's unfortunate to see. And Jav saying, big up J Luke for not giving up and not retiring. Love to see that. I agree there. J Luke down in 18th place, but he's still going. Oh, yeah, I think it's still going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant stuff from J Luke to continue racing, especially being a lap down and being in 18th. But it's great to see that people don't give up racing as soon as something goes wrong. So it's brilliant to see, and he is still going. So that is like you say, Jav. That is brilliant to see.
Yeah, indeed. Sparhole is in his sauce this race. He's feeling it. I agree. I think Sparhole he is pushing and he is gaining. The minimum he's going to get here, I think, is P2. He has less penalties than Matty, if I know.
I think
Yeah,
they
he
may
has
have
the same
the
penalties.
same
Yeah,
amount. I don't think McCrew's picked up a penalty yet, by the
he
sounds
has.
of
He's
it.
got
There,
two.
oh, he's got 2 penalties. Wow, okay. I didn't see
So
those be picked up.
Sparhole,
So Sparholt's at the moment, he's definitely in the best position at this point, and Callum's also in a good position as well. He's catching Aquaplaning pretty quickly for P5. Both of these two seem to have been kind of the fastest two of the race. McCrew's run a relatively... He's kind of been on his own for most of the race. It's been hard to judge his pace against those around him. He definitely hasn't had bad pace, but he's just not quite got the pace at the moment by the looks of it to really kind of win this race on the one stop and really make that one stop strategy work at this point. As we've got a yellow flag.
Sparhole pumps in the fastest lap there. I don't see any reason for that yellow flag.
I didn't see any reason for that either. J Luke
J.
actually has retired from the session. He's crashed, and that's a full safety car.
Oh, and who called that in the comments? Mike, a safety car will really spice this race up. Less than a minute ago.
That has really spiced this race up. And Aquaplaning immediately into the pit lane for a set of softs.
Maurice follows in. Danny. Oh, Matty gets a
Drive through
speeding under the safety
car.
car.
Oh, that's a disaster because he can't take his drive-through penalty under the safety car. He has to take it when they restart. So that's going to drop into the back of the field, surely.
No way did he just get that. I don't think that was justified either.
That is such a shame for Matty. That is such a massive shame. But just looking at Aquaplaning putting those softs on, people behind him on the track, so Callum, Daniel, Fantasy and Supergamer all didn't pit. So,
Very interesting.
Yeah, Maurice did pit, Hypez didn't, and Niels did but put the mediums on. And then we've got Danny, Max, Otapa, Calvin and Kieran have all put the softs on. But like I said earlier on, a safety car can bring these people back into this race, and it absolutely has. They're definitely on for good points now.
You're a wizard, Mike.
Let's see what the leaders do. So McCrew's in. So McCrew's into the pit lane.
Predicting all the leaders to pit. I think Sparholt will pit.
Matty comes in. Sparholt stays out. So he's confident on those mediums that he can take those to the end. McCrew on the softs. What does Matty put on? Unfortunately, obviously, Matty will have to take his drive-through. He's going to put the mediums on by the looks of things. No, that's...
I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the right strategy call there by McCrew. By Sparholt. McCrew's going to come out in second. Matty, although he has to drive through, is going to come out in...
third position. Fourth position. He'll be behind Callum. Mike's pitted and put the softs on. Daniel stayed out on the hards.
This is very interesting here.
Yeah, Mike's dropped behind Fantasy for 7th, but he's on the softs, and the 2 people in front of him have not pitted. So Mike's on for a good result here as well. Aquaplaning stays in 9th after everyone else in front of him pits. So, a number of people to look out for in this one. Like you say, I think Sparholt has the speed over McCrew to pit and still challenge McCrew for the race win. Obviously, McCrew has more penalties at this point, but if McCrew can use those softs and pass Sparholt before the end of the race and gap him enough, then McCrew may have just played a blinder behind the safety car.
Nice to see that Sparholt isn't glitching the safety car like we've seen a lot recently in different leagues, but
yeah, absolutely.
Staying behind, this is going to be very interesting because, as you said, Matty pitted onto mediums because I don't think he had any more softs.
I'm not sure he had any left, and obviously by the strategy that Fantasy pulled and the first part of the race, the softs haven't been the best tyre so far. The mediums have definitely looked like the best tyre, but obviously it's the end of the race and the fuel's low and the track temperature's higher, so you're going to get the best out of the softs at this point in the race. So let's see what people can do.
In the comments, just saying, let's get ready to rumble. This is where people start lunging and getting desperate. Yeah, we see drivers still keeping their head and keeping it clean out on track and just not trying to be too desperate.
Absolutely. The racing so far in this race, I have to say, has been almost near perfect. That we haven't seen really any incidences from people. A couple of aggressive moves here and there, but we haven't seen any bad racing from anyone so far in this race. It's been really, really good to watch. We've had a number of really good overtakes. So Hopefully everyone keeps it the same after the safety car period ends.
Yeah.
Okay, so
See what happens.
I'm going to ask you for another prediction. Who's your money on after this safety car restart? Who do you think is
I've
going to come
been
through?
gunning for Sparhawk this whole race, but I think McCrue's those soft tyres are going to be good, and especially as we see Sparhawk, he's adding some percentage to his tyres by weaving down the straights. I'm going for McCrue to win. I think Callum's going to nick second. Matty's going to drop down because of his drive-through. I think Sparhawk's going to get the podium still.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a good prediction. Obviously, the one person at the moment I'm definitely worried for at the safety car restart is Daniel. He decided to stay out on his hard tyres and he's sticking with that one stop. He's going to fall through the field massively at this point in the race. He's definitely not got the pace on the people in front, and the people behind are on much fresher and softer compounded tyres. So he's unfortunately going to fall through the field. I've got to say, I'm going to keep my eye out for Mike in this race. At this point in the race after the safety car restart, he's kind of run a lonely race, but he's had good pace and he's made some good overtakes so far. So let's see if he can work his way forward as well. As safety car's in this lap. So everyone is officially. Yeah, everyone's caught back up to the field. Kieran, the last person in the queue. Obviously, he's had a bit of a poor race so far. Hopefully, this safety car restart works out well for him. But here we go. Then we'll go. And we'll watch Sparhawk on the restart. He's keeping it nice and slow. He's not going to go yet. Is he going to go for the best one down the straight? He's almost coming to a stop before the last corner. And he goes now. He goes on the exit of the corner, but he doesn't get the best of runs. McCrue got a good run as well. Obviously, no DRS yet.
Behind.
Yeah,
someone's already bottled it.
Oh, one of the Renaults. That's Maurice that spun out of the points, I believe. That's such a shame for Maurice that he's managed to spin there. That is a real shame. He had a good race up until, obviously, he left the session, unfortunately. Obviously, there's no DRS at this point, so Sparhawk needs to try and use the time with no DRS to try and gap McCrue. But look at McCrue, already so much more grip. Is he going to go for the move down into...
Pounding Sparhawk.
Is he going to go for the move? Is he going to go to the outside? Is he going to brake late enough? He brakes really late, but Sparhawk sees it coming and brakes later himself and keeps the outside of the corner. But McCrue with a switchback. Oh, Sparhawk really sideways, squeezing McCrue to the inside of the track. And Sparhawk outbrakes himself. McCrue's through.
No way has McCrue already made that move. An excellent move by there. He was squeezed to the curb and he still got through.
That was brilliant, and a bit of a mistake for Sparhawk, and Sparhawk starts to struggle now, as is Callum. Callum all over the road. Matty's dropped behind Callum, I think, at this point as well, so Callum's worked his way up into third. Matty, he's obviously got his drive-through, so he's got to serve that. I imagine it'll probably be this lap that he has to serve that drive-through penalty. Mike all over Fantasy for P5. Got some more
I think Mike had just got through, but I think he's going to be re-overtaken.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fantasy.
There we go, Matty's in for his drive-through then. That's such a shame for Matty, who was on for a possible podium at that point. That's a real shame. Yeah, Fantasy. Daniel's already fallen behind Fantasy and Mike. So here we go then, Mike on the back of Fantasy. He doesn't have DRS, obviously. There's no DRS yet. It'll be the next lap that it's enabled. It's got Sparhawk and Callum side by side for P2.
Great race car from both of these drivers there. No contact made and Sparhawk keeps it. And Sparhawk has gone from the hunter to being the hunted. He's under threat from Callum now.
Absolutely. That's such. Look at the gap. McCrue has pulled already 2 seconds clear after basically half a lap. Brilliant stuff from McCrue. Fantasy and Mike side by side. Mike's got the better exit. He's going down the inside. Fantasy leaves him room, but Fantasy's going to have the run on the outside. One of the other Renault has spun now. I think Kieran spun. A disaster.
Not a good day for the French baguettes.
No, absolutely not. It's been a real shocker for them. Daniel not doing too badly. Aquaplaning's now up to 6th from 9th at the restart, so he's had a good restart as well, and he's up behind Mike. Maybe he can get P4. He has a look to the inside. He's not quite close enough to make the move though. High pace from outside of the points. Like I said, he has shown good pace so far. He was outside the points at the restart. He's up into 9th, as is Nils. He's in 10th. Got to keep an eye out for those as well. McCrue was 17.3. What a lap time for McCrue.
McCrue is absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, Sparhawk's got himself under composure again. He's over a second ahead of Callum now, so I think he's composed himself after that, after a bit of a messy restart. Here goes Mike and Aquaplanning once again on Fantasy. Mike looks to the inside, goes to the outside. He's gonna, is he gonna squeeze around the outside of Fantasy? He is. He pulled it off.
That's a
brilliant
great
move.
place to go from the move. We've seen that multiple times this race from multiple different people, and the Ferrari's right behind the two Honda-powered cars.
Absolutely, yeah. Fantasy has good straight line speed, but he doesn't have enough to pass. Oh, Aquaplaning down the inside. Fanside leaves him just enough room, and Aquaplaning's wide off the track. Ooh, wouldn't make the overtake off the track, but he's going to try and go for the switchback. Is he going to try and make the move stick into the next corner? He's not close enough. Oh, he's still side by side. There's a little bit of wheel banging.
He's
off the track.
That was off the track.
That was off the track. Aquaplaning. He's going to have to give that move back. Yeah, he passed.
No, that is an unfair overtake there.
Definitely, he passed Fanside off the road. There's definitely no reason for Aquaplaning to be overtaking off the track. So fingers crossed he gives that place back. If not, then I imagine that will probably be a steward's inquiry. That's such a shame. But Hyper's now up to 8th. Daniel's dropping down the field. Like I said, he's now almost down into 9th. He's side by side with Hyper's at the moment. Yeah, that's a real shame that he didn't pit. Sparholt on that lap, 0.2 of a second quicker than McCrew. So
yeah,
that's something to look out for. Obviously, McCrew has one more penalty than Sparholt, so and there's still not a 3 second gap yet. It's still 2.3. Oh, as I say that, Sparholt, a massive moment on the exit of turn 3.
Just to expose some of these drivers right now to make it more interesting, Sparholt has 2 warnings, 1 away from the next penalty, and it's actually McCrew has two more warnings to use up before he gets another penalty. And it seems like Sparholt is struggling right now.
Is he made another mistake? He has, by the looks of things. His tyres aren't at their best condition, obviously, at this point in the race, so he's starting to struggle. Sparholt, there we go. There's the second penalty, so that's saved McCrew at this point in the race.
And that's completely ripped away his chances of winning this race. He's lost more time in the middle sector for McCrew.
Yeah, that is such a shame. That is such a shame for Sparholt. It was going so well for him. He was kind of in dominant performance, and then not pitting behind the safety cars really affected him more. Reese steals the fastest lap. He's nearly a lap down.
The inside and makes a bit of contact. Sorry to butt in there.
That's all right. Go for it.
Super Gamer stayed ahead though, and Hypes is going to be looking to overtake. He's right on the back of the Ferrari man there. On the exit, it seems like Super Gamer has no ERS to defend this. It's going to be an easy move for Hypes. He's going to go to the left or to the right. Chooses the inside line. He's going to be back on the race line before the corner.
It's gone. Yeah, look at that. Super Gamer running out of ERS. He's been left in the dust really down that straight by Hypez. So Hypez up to 7th now. Really good recovery from Hypez. See what else is happening up in front. Mike is starting to catch Callum for P3 now as well. So that's something we've got to look out for. Got to look out for how Mike and Aquaplaning can catch the 2 in front. Callum's really starting to struggle.
I'm going to have a look at some more penalties actually. Mike has 3 penalties in comparison to Callum, who has just 2 and no more warning. So, and that's his
4th penalty. Yeah, that's really going to cost him in this race. But as I was just saying, Callum really starting to struggle. He's 2.5 seconds off the back of Sparholt now. He's really struggling for traction at this point in the race.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting to see how this race turns out. 2 more laps left as the leaders cross the line.
I think it's 3 laps left. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. But yeah, McCrew out in front. He made the right strategy call behind the safety car. It's definitely worked for him. He's and this is probably why he's the championship leader. Smart moves behind the safety car. He's going to continue to pull out on Callum, who's currently in 3rd. He's not able to make enough ground on McCrew or make any ground at this point. Sparholt, another penalty.
Oh, he's gained a lot of warning.
That's very quick that he's got another penalty. Like, yeah, he's gained a number of warnings very quickly.
33. I think he's pushing a bit too hard now. I think he's costing a lot of positions with penalties.
Yeah, at this point it's going to cost him a position to Callum as well.
It's unfortunate to see actually. A lot of people look like they were going to have good races, and then things out of their control, things within their control have just completely ruined it.
Absolutely, it's a real case. You kind of have to make the most of safety cars, and you have to make the right strategy calls. Some people have, and some people definitely haven't made the right calls at this point. Just went on board with Super Gamer, really well held. He hits the wall, but I don't think he got any damage. But Christ, that was a massive moment for the S section. And somehow Daniel is still within the points on 17 lap old hard tyres. He is still in 9th place at this point. So he's doing well to hold on.
Great job. He saved up a lot of his ERS. He can use it, disperse it down the straight to try and keep with Super Gamer. I think we'll be pleased with P9 after his damage.
Absolutely, and after the strategy the corner is made, he actually might go for the move on Super Gamer. He's got much more straight line speed.
Oh, Super Gamer.
Oh, Super Gamer
Oh,
moves.
that's
That was very late. That was a very late move there from Super Gamer, especially considering the overspeed that Daniel had.
Yeah, some would say that it's the driver behind responsibility to not cause an accident, but in that case, I don't think there was much Daniel could do. He was going at high speeds, and that happened very quickly. Super Gamer's dive into the inside line.
Yeah, that was kind of a very late defensive move from Super Gamer. Behind, Danny and Max are side by side for the last points paying position at this point. Matty has worked his way back up to 14th, as Calvin and Nils in front are fighting hard.
Calvin died on the inside. I don't. He's got a left front end plate damage. I don't know that was from the contact that just happened, but it might lose him position to Matty behind. He's trying to recover.
Oh,
Some
Matty down the inside.
positions.
Yeah, Matty's through. There's a yellow flag as Max has retired from the final points paying position. That's a massive shame for Max, who was running at the back for most of the race and was on for a chance of points. But we've started the last lap now. McCrew over 4 seconds clear, so that strategy call behind the safety car was a brilliant call from McCrew.
Mike, DRS Applecannon and Mike are closing in on Callum. I don't know if any positions will be exchanged here.
I don't quite think so. I think Callum might just be able to hold this one off.
So I see Matty's just overtaken the Toro Rosso down the main straight. Max has left the session. I'm sure he's not going to be happy to pass on the second to last lap.
Yeah, that is a real shame for Max, who was on for possible points. Matty, though, for the other Haas driver, may be able to steal a point on the last lap as Aquaplaning picks up another time penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how penalties decide, as McCrew has led since the safety car period after overtaking Spa-Holt. His strategy call has pretty much, as you said, shown why he is the championship leader here.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant call from McCrew, and since that, he's not looked back. He's run a good race up until that point, but yeah, brilliant strategy call from McCrew. He rounds the last corner then, ahead of Maurice, who's just been lapped. So McCrew comes up to the line, and he's going to win round 18 at Mexico. Brilliant drive from McCrew to extend his championship lead even further, and he's dead set for definitely a championship win at this point. Brilliant stuff. Spa-Holt crosses the line in second. Callum can't pass him on penalties.
6 seconds behind. Yeah. I thought Spa-Holt would lose more positions at that, but he didn't. Fantasy's finishing 7/10 behind Callum after penalties.
Yeah, Fantasy up to 4th. Super Gamer up to 5th. Brilliant stuff from Super Gamer. Aquaplaning down to 6th. Hyper 7th. Daniel 8th. Never mind, make that Kieran in 8th. Kieran spinning
on penalties.
He's with front wing damage, and he spun at the safety car restart, I believe. He's up to 8th and in the points. Brilliant stuff from Kieran to finish 8th in that race. Mike drops to 10th despite finishing P4 on the road. Daniel holds on to 9th on 20 lap-old hards and front wing damage. So well held for him. Wow. Matty didn't get in the points in the end, and it's just Otapa we're waiting for to cross the line as he comes up to the line now. Yeah, brilliant race though. Brilliant race.
That was a very good win for McCrew. I'm sure he'll be extremely happy with that.
Absolutely, yeah. And like we said, he extends his championship lead by another 10 points over Callum in that race. So he's over 2 race wins clear at the front of the championship. That's almost dead set championship victory for McCrew at this point.
Indeed, a great race there from him. Top step, he'll be, as I said, ecstatic with that.
Absolutely, and so let's run through the top 10. Run through the top 10 finishes for everyone then before we wrap up this. Okay, so McCrew then wins the race ahead of Spa-Holt and Callum, who's in 3rd. They're your podium finishes for today. 4th is Pure Fantasy. Super Gamer 5th. He comes up from, I think, a lowly top 10 position. Him and Kieran, the only 2 people to not get a penalty in that race. Brilliant stuff from those 2. Aquaplaning drops to 6th in the end. Hyper's a great recovery after a spin early on in the race. He comes home to finish in 7th place in McLaren. Kieran 8th, Daniel 9th, and Mike rounds out the top 10 after dropping a number of positions with his penalties. Neil's the first person outside of the points in the other Toro Rosso. Matty, unfortunately, that drive-through penalty really cost him in that race, and he wasn't able to get back into the points at that point either. So that's your top 12 finishers. Who's your driver of the day, do you think?
Just thinking of that, I'm thinking it's going to have to go to Callum. From 9th to 3rd, he's got it on the podium from starting so far behind. A very good race from him.
Absolutely, yeah. It's difficult to choose between all of the top 3 for driver of the day in that race, because they all drove brilliant races at certain points in that race. McCrew really managed his tyres and his strategy well. Spa-Holt had incredible pace at the start, and then, like you said, Callum made his way through the field really well. But I'll probably have to agree with you and say Callum's probably my driver of the day in that one as well. Well
Yeah,
held with the tyres at the end, able to keep Mike and Aquaplane behind, and he made his way through the field very well. So yeah, hats off to Callum in that one.
indeed, indeed.
Well, yeah, that about wraps it up, everyone. That's round 18 over and done with here at Mexico. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Tune in next Saturday at 2 o'clock UK time again for round 19 of the championship. Thank you again to Topsit for commentating alongside me.
No worries. It was great fun. The racing is amazing in this league, and it's pleasure to see.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a real pleasure to see such close, hard fought, but clean racing as well. Yeah, so tune in everyone next week for round 19. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.